His Tim Hortons order is a extra large decaf, 4 cream, 4 sugar, but he just says
Boom.
4x4, and they go, "Gotcha."
Wow.
A 4x4. I
A
never even
four
heard of
by
that. I
four
love
extra
it.
Man,
large
That's
decaf. What the
that's
fuck?
crazy.
Yeah, that's like an energy drink, man.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like just
But the
cream
decaf
flavored
version, that's
coffee.
crazy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean. Yeah, the decaf. Yeah.
Oh
Decaf is
man.
strange because he's like, well, I need to, my heart, I need to, like, I can't drink coffee like I used to. I have to do
Yeah.
his doctor was
Mm,
like, you have to do decaf. Like, you
Wow.
cannot do like
damn.
caffeinated drinks anymore. And he's like, all right, sure.
Yeah.
Still doesn't drink water. Still doesn't, goes on like 8 kilometer walks, doesn't drink a drop of water ever.
That's crazy. Wow.
Fucking nuts, dude. That's a different generation.
Seriously.
It's like perpetually dehydrated. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
Why does
probably
my
going
head
to live
hurt? You're
longer
like,
than
I
all
don't
of
know.
us, too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably, right?
I love coffee.
Hey,
That's the
We
name.
just
That's
been
the
talking
topic
about
of the
coffee, bro.
pod.
Guys, so I woke up hella late and I'm like, yo, this is like a crazy time to have coffee. It's like almost the evening, but I said, fuck it. I like went to Tim Hortons. Like I'm addicted. It's like heroin. Like I can't stop. I don't
It's
even
funny
know
'cause
if this
came
is
in
part of
ready
your.
to talk about coffee.
oh man.
No, we literally sat down and I was like, I gotta pour my coffee, and Johnny's like, fuck, I should make a coffee. And Pat was like,
Yeah.
I have my coffee here. So
Yeah.
I
great.
feel like it's
Love that.
interesting. Like I don't have any addictions to cigarettes with drinking. Like I drink, but I can stop anytime. But every day I need a coffee. And it's just like
Yeah, bro.
I'll consciously try not to have one some days. And then just like a couple hours into the day, like I'm just like fucking like a fiend. Like I'm just thinking about it. And
Yeah, I feel
like,
that.
I won't be happy until I have it. It's fucked. It's
Have you ever
completely-
stopped? Like, have you ever like taken a break off of coffee? It like fucks with you.
Mhm.
Never.
It throws your daily routine just completely out of rhythm. You're just like, well, I usually like go over here and start making the coffee. You know what I mean? Like there's this whole routine and ritual that happens around it too. Even if
Yeah.
it's like going to Tim Hortons to buy it, there's that routine of like the people you see along the way and the people you talk to.
Yeah, you see the same fiends in line just waiting
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
same time.
Just pissed.
Yeah, it's like when you wake up and your eyes are like heavy and you just have that like stiff feeling, and you have the coffee and you're like, now I'm like I've shed my skin. You know what I mean? It is kind
How
of
does
like
everybody
heroin.
take their coffee?
Becomes necessary, yeah.
Because I have
So-
I have a wild one that my dad does, but I want to hear what how people
Oh,
drink.
I'm so intrigued with a wild coffee now. But
Oh man.
yeah,
here
I
we
guess
go.
I'll go first because it's not that exciting. But I just kind of change it up depending on how I feel. I used to always be a double
Ah.
guy, and then now I just notice like sometimes where I'm like, yo, I'm just gonna cut back on sugar today, so I'll take a regular or even sometimes a black. Like it's so. I find people I work with, they're trying to find out, oh, what do you take? And every day is a new adventure. So yeah, you just got to ask me in the moment and I'll just go how I feel.
Yo, I really I gotta add on to what Sean was saying about not being able to quit. Like first of all, I just take my coffee with a little bit of milk now, but I used to do like use cream and sugar or whatever, but just a little milk now. And it's because when I was having some health problems, did a whole bunch of like elimination diet type stuff. Was trying to like hone stuff down, cut out sugar and cut out a whole bunch of stuff. And so I was just having coffee with a little bit of like coconut milk or almond milk or whatever. Now I just have a little bit of regular milk, but I quit smoking. I quit smoking weed, and coffee could not do it. Could not cut the coffee
Yeah.
out, man. It's just without it, it's just like Johnny was saying. It's weird. Your whole morning, the whole flow of it is just like, it's like you're moving in slow motion or something. But yeah, just a little milk for me.
I just go black. I'm like the most boring.
Let's go.
No, that's
Yeah,
hardcore,
I-
dude.
Yeah.
I got some hair in my chest.
I actually
Yeah.
ran out of milk, so mine is black right now.
Yeah.
But every now
Mine's-
and then when I'm like, well, I kind of want to treat, I'll go with like regular one milk,
Yeah.
one cream, one sugar. But
Nice.
yeah.
See, when I'm at home, it's just milk. When I'm at Tim Hortons, it's a double because they do it right every time. And then when I'm at a restaurant, it's just black. Because I've had so many experiences at a restaurant where I go to put cream in the coffee and the cream is spoiled and it just
Oh,
floats
damn.
to the top.
All
You're
the
like,
time, dude.
oh, God,
That's the
damn
gross.
it.
And you see the little chunky
Yeah.
bits.
Man.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
little
the little
pieces,
flakes.
ugh.
You're like, what the fuck? My dad, though, his Tim Hortons order is a extra large decaf, 4 cream, 4 sugar, but he just says
Boom.
4x4, and there you go. Gotcha.
Wow.
A 4x4. I
A
never even heard of that. I
4x4
love
extra
it.
Man.
large
That's-
decaf. What the
that's-
That's
fuck?
crazy.
Yeah, that's like an energy drink, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like just
But the
cream
decaf
flavored
version, that's
coffee.
crazy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean. Yeah, the decaf. Yeah.
Oh,
Decaf
man.
is strange because he's like, well, I need to, my heart, I need to, like, I can't drink coffee like I used to. I have to do.
Yeah.
His doctor was
Mm.
like, you have to do decaf. Like, you
Wow.
cannot do like
Damn.
caffeinated drinks anymore. And he was like, all right, sure.
Yeah.
Still doesn't drink water. Still doesn't. Goes on like 8-kilometer walks. Doesn't drink a drop of water ever.
That's crazy. Wow.
fucking nuts, dude. That's a different generation.
Seriously.
Mhm.
It's like perpetually dehydrated. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
Why does
probably
my
going
head
to live
hurt? You're
longer
like,
than
I
all
don't
of
know.
us do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably, right?
Oh man, speaking of Tim Hortons, I can't even drink it anymore. Like
Oh,
since I
yeah,
don't
it's
have
brutal, bro.
sugar.
Starbucks prissies over here.
If
No.
It sucks without sugar.
If-
Bro,
yeah,
I'll say
yeah,
McDonald's
yeah.
too.
If-
McDonald's is also up there. It's good black
yeah,
coffee.
it's not bad, but just Tim Hortons with no sugar, man, I find it's just not only is it bad, but it's way too hot because they've built their whole thing around the double double, right? So it's
Yeah.
like it's way too hot, and then it also tastes bad. For a while, when they had the hockey cards, I kept going, and then I'd get a small coffee, and I'd be like, I hate this. And so
Why am I
I
doing
don't-
this to myself?
But I gotta catch them all.
yeah, I get $1 off the pack,
Do you know why that is? Like, so Tim Hortons used to have really great coffee. Like, it was like you could drink it black and it was fucking awesome. And McDonald's, those slick bastards, were like, we need to up our coffee game. So first they started with free coffee. You could just get a free coffee, and that didn't sell it. So then they found out who the supplier
They couldn't give
was.
this stuff away.
You couldn't give it
Literally.
away. So they found out who the supplier was for Tim Hortons coffee beans, and they bought that company. They just bought the company that supplied them the beans and started using that there. So Tim Hortons had to find a new distributor. They just had to find a new way to get coffee beans. And
I
that's their whole
remember-
business. Like,
If you can't
Yeah.
beat the competition, you buy them.
you buy them.
Yeah, right.
I remember the shift of like their coffees changing, but I didn't know that was the reason why.
Yeah,
That's
I remember the
incredible.
shift. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will
Even
say,
McDonald's, like you think like as a fast food place, like back in the day when they didn't have good coffee and it shifted, like people started telling me, they're like, you wouldn't believe this, man, but get a coffee at McDonald's.
Yeah.
It's actually
Yeah, dude.
fucking amazing.
and it slowly turned, but
Yeah, yeah.
I will say A&W too, very underrated coffee.
Ah,
Interesting.
not
That's a
bad.
curveball.
Yeah, yeah. I don't ever go, but like I've had it before. I'm like, shit, okay.
Coffee time. If you need to get heroin and coffee,
hey.
Yeah.
it's the only spot
Bada
up here you can
bing,
do
bada
that.
boom.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Some old
while we're
donuts.
throwing the curveballs in, I've been really impressed with Second Cup lately. You get a nice latte there. The foam is always good. Like I've been impressed with that place lately.
Do they double cup it
Bridgehead
though?
Bridgehead coffee
they
can go
don't.
fuck themselves. Bridgehead coffee tastes like shit. I don't care what anyone says.
I don't even know Bridgehead.
Yeah,
Putting
me
them on
neither.
blast.
Maybe it's
Is
just an
this some Ottawa
thing.
shit?
I think it's like you're just
fucking
bashing a local
awful.
Ottawa.
Some Ottawa
Ottawa
shit.
brand.
It's a mom and pop store. They're like, hey.
Yeah. Everybody's like, I heard on the podcast.
Oh man.
I only have
'Cause
20
they're
listeners.
listening.
One of them owns Bridgehead.
Yeah.
I was your biggest fan, Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just imagine they just start getting
man.
trashed.
Yeah. And you just see 19 views instead of 20.
Yeah. I lose one subscriber.
Yeah. Oh man.
Fucking hell.
Well, sponsor us, all companies, you know. Everybody we name dropped.
Yeah, for real. I want to go on working for coffee shops because both of you guys worked. Jared and Pat both worked in different capacities for Starbucks.
Oh,
What
really?
is the inside scoop?
Yeah, what are the pros? What are the cons of a job like that? Whoever wants to.
Well, I mean, first of all, the biggest pro is at Starbucks, it's like free drinks, like free. If you have a shift, you get a free drink before, free drink after, partner
Oh,
beverage. That's pretty baller.
I'd have
But
a
you
fucking
will
heart
be
attack if
jacked
I
up. You
Yeah,
you
right.
you
yeah.
come
No,
home
all day,
like
bro.
just
Fucking
buzzed,
just
man.
loaded.
Is that why all the workers are just so enthused? Like, hey, what's your
Yeah,
name?
dude,
Ah, have a good day. Ah. I'm like,
for
whoa,
sure.
it's intrusive.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. Like my
intrusive.
first like 6 months working there, I was just like endlessly just like blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. I will say you get benefits too. They paid for my wisdom teeth to be taken out.
Oh,
No
So
wow.
way.
What
Yeah,
a good company.
Dental at Starbucks.
yeah, no,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
yeah.
Mental health benefits too.
Oh yeah, I know about that.
And they give you shares of Starbucks stock like
Yeah, that I
every
did.
little once in a while. It's pretty sick.
Yeah,
No,
right
solid
on.
job. And I remember the pay was always above minimum wage. Like not much better, but when it was like 13.25, they paid like 13.50 or something. We're
Mm.
talking a long time ago, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but still, that sounds for a chain, that sounds decent. Usually I
No, they
hear
were
horror
yeah.
stories and
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
because they're not franchised, right? Like they're just one corporation, but they no, very solid company to work for.
Yeah, there
Uh,
are horror stories. Like some, if you ever did a couple shifts at a bad store, like it can
yeah.
be pretty rough. But
Oh,
that comes with any territory like
and
that,
like
right?
some of the customers were pieces of shit.
Oh,
But
buddy,
yeah.
yeah.
you know.
You
Yeah,
don't want
because
to
that's the
mess with the guy
thing.
who hasn't
It's
had his coffee yet.
and it's such a specific order too from these types of
Yeah.
people, right?
Yeah,
Like,
Mhm.
sometimes they're even like, yeah, I want the temperature at this degrees, and I'm
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
in line behind them. I'm like, just fucking order a double double.
they'll know
Fucking
what you
cunt.
mean.
Yeah,
I I
you
have
go ahead.
a crazy fucking story, man. So there was this guy that when I was new working at Starbucks, there's this guy that had been there for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years, a long time. The customers knew him. And this woman came in every night and always wanted him to make the drink for her. So when she came in, he saw her walk in, he started making the drink. He goes, I'm gonna make this drink. I just want to like see something. All you gotta do is just give it to her after she pays, okay? I'm like, sure, no problem. So he makes the drink before she even gets to the cash. He cashes her out. He's like, "Oh, Jared's gonna make your drink, whatever." I literally just hand it to her. Like he fully did everything the same way he always does. I just handed it off to her. I go, "Have a good night." She tastes it. She goes to the other guy and she goes, "It just doesn't taste the same. Could I have you make it?" I
Oh
swear to God,
my god.
swear to
Wow.
God, and I never forgot that. And he's like,
Yeah,
"That's what you're
people
gonna
are
deal with here."
psychos.
Yeah,
That's
man,
mental. That's
wild, eh?
wild.
Oh man.
That
Dude,
True
really
story. Swear to
that
God.
that is
there's a
actually like a perfect explanation of the Starbucks thing. Like I was about to tell the like basically the same story. Like I had this for about
Ridiculous.
a week straight. About a week straight, this woman would come in and she'd come in first thing in the morning too, and she always wanted like a blended like a matcha frappuccino basically, but without any of like this cream base that they put in that makes it mix well. So you make it without that stuff, and it's like a chunky mess, and you have to scoop it
Yeah.
out of the pitcher. And I like explained like the first two times like that it's not going to work properly and stuff, and she was just like insistent. And it was always like this whole hassle. Like she would come in and I would know like, oh man, here we go. And on her face, I could see she was like, oh, I'm gonna have to explain to this idiot how to make the drink. But by the end of the week, we had kind of like a bit of a rapport, and it was so weird because it was kind of like the first time in retail I had like kind of won somebody over. But
Mm.
there's endless procession of like customers like that at Starbucks who just have this super specific thing, and they're almost expecting you to mess it up. Like it's weird,
100%. That's a very good
wow.
way
intense.
of putting it. They're expecting you to mess it up. That's a very good way of
Yeah,
putting it.
I don't know how people live like that, like with that
Right.
intensity.
so high
Walking-
strung, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so hypercritical. It's like go be a movie critic or something. Like, what are you doing it here for? It to
Yeah,
me,
just
like
yeah.
your coffee stop. What the
But I
Yeah,
will
and
fuck?
then
say,
and then right after that customer, your next person will come up and be like, "Oh, I don't know what his problem was.
Yeah,
Black coffee, please."
literally.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say some of the customers were also so nice. Like you get, it's not
Yeah,
just bad. You get both sides. Some people are very appreciative, very nice. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, you get some real kooks too.
Jared, your story, Jared, reminded me of something I read. It was about I think it was in like 48 Laws of Power, but he was talking about I can't remember. I mean, it was like Michelangelo or somebody was like working at like a church, and he was sculpting something, and the head of the church was like, you did not want to piss this guy off. Like he would like have you killed like at that time, right? Like if you said anything he didn't like. And he was kind of looking at the statue and he's like, I don't know. I think like the nose is just like a little too big. And meanwhile, like I'm just using Michelangelo because I'm not sure if that's actually who it is, but
Yeah.
he was like had worked on this for so long, like it was the exact way that he wanted it, but he knew that if he said no, it's fine, he was gonna get killed. But he didn't want to compromise like the art in a way, right? Of like what he had already done. So he just like went over to it and like kind of like positioned himself so it looked like he was
And he,
chipping
like,
the
just hit
statue. He just tapped the end of the chisel and was like, "How about that?" And the guy's like, "Perfect." Like literally didn't do anything to it. Like
That's
Amazing.
wild.
he
Even
could have
right.
handed that coffee back to him, and he hands it to her, and she's like, "This is great now."
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been working live events at a theater, like doing like video stuff, but I'm always working with the sound guys too. And sometimes they get like artists in who are like so like critical and like, hey, we have this lower, like higher, and blah blah blah. And there's this one guy, he always like keeps like one of like the faders, I guess, like it looks like a switch to nothing, but he'll move it. And sometimes they're just like, oh yeah, that's better. And like just knowing that some of these people come in, they're absolutely psycho. So it
100%.
reminded me of like that story you're telling, Johnny, of fixing the nose, and you didn't actually do anything. You just made it look like you did something, and they're like, yeah, all right, let's.
So it was like a noble lie. Like you're like just doing it to appease their own sense of like feeling like they're in control without like hurting their ego. Cause yeah, especially if it's like an artist coming in, they're just like super fragile egos, some of them.
I
Like
mean, I even have stories as like a DJ where
oh
like,
yeah.
you know, people are like, the music's too loud, can you turn it down? And I go, sure. And I just touch the, I don't actually turn it down. They go, that's better. Thank you. People I'm working with, like, the microphone's too low. Could you turn it up? And they're already peaking. So I just pretend to turn it up. They go, thanks. That sounds better. Like,
that's it. They don't know like the technical side, and it's
Yeah.
just like you have it a certain way for a reason, so you
Yeah.
just gotta kind of pretend, oh, here you go, we did it, you know. Like
But it
sometimes
is
there's a
funny.
reason for the levels and everything, you know.
It's funny though how they like they think it happens and then they believe that there is a change.
Yeah,
That's the funny part.
they just want to be in control.
Yeah, I feel like there's almost like two sides to that. Okay, hang on. Before I get into this, let me just take off this silly filter because I'm getting a little serious.
I want to make a serious point.
Okay,
Where's the glasses?
Okay, so basically I think half of that is like people who are kind of like power tripping or whatever. They feel the need to have you like be subservient to them. And at Starbucks especially, you would get customers like that. They're almost like they're itching to talk down to you. And it's like, bro, I worked here for years. I know how to make the thing. Like if you want it differently, then I'll make it differently. But like don't talk like act like I don't know anything. But then the other side of that, I think, is what you get with the people asking for the music to be turned down or stuff like that, is it's almost like someone's bugging them, and just the fact that they've said it, they feel better already. Or maybe they feel weird about having asked, and so they're just immediately like, oh yeah, it's okay. But it's funny how those two different things, I feel like I'm talking about like a really aggressive person and a somewhat insecure person, and it both translates into the same kind of action. It's pretty weird.
Yeah, that is a weird like new reality for humans, that we all at some point get to act in the same way that like a king or a royal did back in the day, right? Like,
yeah, like the customer service thing.
Yeah, because you go to a restaurant and they're literally called a server. Like that, they put them in that position of like, this is going to be your servant for the evening. His name is Johnny, and he's going to show you to where you'll be sitting, and he'll take your order, and the food will be presented in front of you. And if it's not good enough, you get to yell at the server and tell him
he'll
how
take
he
it back to the
up.
kitchen,
and he'll just stand there and smile and nod because he needs the tip. You know what I mean? Like,
yo, that's another one too.
wild.
They take your food back to the kitchen, do nothing, and then bring it back out, and
so
you're
many
like, oh,
times.
it's so much better.
So many times we've done that. I've done that so many times at restaurants. I just walk to the back, wait a couple minutes, walk back out, and go, here you go. Like, wow, that was fast. I was like, yeah, they're quick. They eat it, no problem. Like, it's the craziest thing. It's just a power trip for the sake of power tripping.
It's pretty weird. You guys ever had a massage? Because that's another one of those where you feel kind of like, oh man, I'm really getting pampered here. Like,
Feel weird.
It feels a little strange. Yeah, like I think you almost like do I deserve this right now?
Yeah, even though you're paying for it.
Yeah,
paying a lot.
No,
for
but
it.
I'm that same type of person too, where it's just like, fuck, man. You think you have sympathy for the person doing it as well.
Because we've done those, not massaging people, but like we've done service
Well, I
level
have.
positions. Sean's like, oh, we should get into that. I've massaged a few shoulders, but we've done service level positions, so we inherently feel this like you feel bad. You imagine
Empathy?
yourself in their shoes, and then you feel
Yeah.
bad for them, right?
Yeah.
But you shouldn't. You shouldn't. You no.
Yeah.
I start power tripping now. You paid for it. I mean, yell at the person.
We all pay our dues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
It's
I
a
think in
weird
service
dynamic.
you can always tell, like your customers and stuff. You can tell who's worked in service just because
Yeah.
they're like a little
Yeah.
extra nice or whatever. The people in
they-
the restaurant stacking up the plates and stuff like that.
If somebody says to you, they do a request, but they add at the end, when you have a moment, that's someone who's worked in service.
Yeah.
If you're like,
Mhm.
hey, I can we get the bill whenever you get a chance?
Mhm.
Like that's someone who's worked in service. They're not rushing you to do this for
'Cause
me
they know
right
you got like
now.
100 other
Yeah,
things to
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Clearly, this person's busy. Like,
Yeah, I find myself saying that a lot at restaurants. Like
Me too.
because
Now that you say it.
it's like I'm not in a rush to leave, but I would like you to bring the bill just so that I can have that off of my chest.
yeah, yeah.
So I can leave when I want to.
Or maybe it's a Canadian thing. Like all your American listeners are gonna be like, "What the fuck are you talking
Yeah. Check now.
Yeah.
Bitch.
Literally,
They're working for a
like
fucking
that,
tip. They
though.
better
Yeah.
earn it."
You're like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry to bother you, but I want to pay.
Yeah, I'd like to pay before I leave. You know,
Yeah.
I know, wouldn't want to commit a crime or anything.
Man.
It's so funny how Americans can look at that and be like, pussies. You're
Right?
like, what? You're like, no,
He's a
it's
decent human being.
yeah. Fucking, I'm sorry. I value dignity. Like, what the fuck are you
Mhm.
talking about?
Yeah, I've heard it's a thing in the States, especially in the Midwest. If you're like traveling there as a Canadian, when you saying thank you to people like at Tim Hortons or Walmart or whatever, you'll be like, thank you. And they go, mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I remember that happening in
Uh-huh.
Ogdensburg whenever I go there. They go, uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jared, you would know more than us too. Like,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
you've lived
He's a
there.
half blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or it's yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just yeah.
No,
Like-
you're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Like, all right.
I love that.
We've crossed the border.
The best is driving. Like I've driven to Boston, and it's the funniest thing watching the accent transform from New York State's accent to that Massachusetts accent. Like it's like the same, but just it has like a twang to it. Like it's
A little
just
different.
slightly different. But even as you're getting closer to Massachusetts, you could hear the accent like evolving into the Boston accent. Like it's
Oh, man.
so
Yeah.
strange.
I think it just evolves like the further you drive, because even like my family, they all live in Niagara right by the border too. And I notice not being around there all the time, when I come back, a lot of people have a little bit of like an American twang to their Canadianism too. So like, and then you go further into New York, and then I guess in your situation, Johnny, too, it starts shifting even more as you get to Boston and
So
everything.
funny. It's weird
think,
to have Boston relatives.
You get a similar thing in London, I imagine, because I get the impression there's a lot of variations on that accent.
Mhm.
Mm.
And they kind of
Like
hate
north
each
of
other.
London, south of London. Yeah.
That's the accent differences are insane. Like just by like tiny little regions, there's like massive changes in accent. I didn't know this until recently, and I when I learned it, I was like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But there's Quebecois French, Parisian French, and then international French,
Yeah.
and they're all a little different.
Hmm.
And so like
Very
international French would be like someone's from Haiti and then they speak French. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's not necessarily originated in an area that's completely French speaking. But like if you were to speak Parisian French to a Quebecois, they would look at you like, what the fuck are you?
Yeah. It's like a different. That's so.
Like
It's
it's
so
like you're
They're like, this
speaking in
guy's
the
just
King's
saying
English.
gibberish.
Could you
Yeah.
imagine they'll be like, I'm speaking to Jared, I speak to you with like a British accent, and then like Sean comes over and I turn on like a southern drawl. Like I just like
Yeah.
just it's
Hold on
English
a
but
second.
not English.
That'd be
What
the best
fuck?
podcast ever.
Yeah. It always fascinates me too, like the arrogance of kind of like the Quebec community as well.
Oh.
Like even like going over there, like I didn't take French past grade 9. So I'm in a Tim Hortons and I order in English and just them rolling their
The
eyes at
looks,
me.
ugh.
And yeah, they're just like, fuck you.
Mm.
And it's like, your place is so small compared to the rest of the world. It's like, I don't know. It's just,
I feel that. I always felt the
yeah,
sense of a little, not arrogance, but just like,
yeah,
better
a
than
little.
you.
Yeah, or something. I don't know. It's just in the air there.
I want to
Yeah.
go back to the coffee and service thing because I'm like, I've been having this thought recently that, well, I'm always having the thought that everything's about to turn to shit. But I saw a guy, these people were waiting for their baggage at the Air Canada in like Pearson. And a rep came down to tell them that their baggage wasn't coming and that they weren't going to be able to collect it until the next day. Okay, this guy's job is customer service, like at the max, right? Like he's got to appease very angry people who have been on a flight for God knows how long. And he's an old man. Like he's like older than Joe Biden, like old man. And he's working this customer service job. And I'm like, number one, like this guy should be retired. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So he's going to just be inherently pissed that he has to do this job for whatever reason, right? Pay his bills, his retirement check isn't enough, whatever it is, right? And now he has this thing where they're like, you're the guy, you got to go tell those people. And they are yelling at him because they're frustrated. And he just literally throws his hands up in the air and starts making fun of them and says, I'm done. Bye. And he just leaves. And I was like, that's going to be customer service everywhere for a lot of reasons. One, social media fucked up the service industry because they watched friends of theirs become TikTok sensations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like become like
Right.
multi-millionaires off. You know what I mean? All this opportunity there.
There's like an envy there.
Yeah, there's an envy that like, oh, I could do that too, right? But you're still in the position of what you're doing. And so there's going to be like with customer service specifically, this like bubbling frustration as they get younger and younger.
Yeah.
Because like Gen Z is exposed to that even more. They might know people they went to high school with that have like blown up and they're just looking at colleges or whatever now. And then on top of that, you have the power hungry nature of someone going out to the restaurant for the first time in 3 years because of COVID or whatever. And they really want the full experience. And it's just the two meet each other in these like, that's why we see so many videos of like Karen explodes on whatever,
or
like
even worse, the customer that comes in like that is an influencer and they're expecting like some special treatment because of that. Like then you got a real clashing of heads. The video you're talking about, that was like viral, right? Like I think I saw that on Twitter today.
Yeah, it's fucking I want to try to
I want to find it. I was like,
here, let me find it
first.
He like had to tell them they weren't getting their luggage until the next day or something.
Yeah, like it was bad.
He renamed it to X officially, eh?
Oh yeah, I saw my app.
Yeah, I noticed even on my app it's like updated and changed.
Fucking weird, bro.
Yeah. It's weird, but I've just done Karen about everything, you know? Like, especially things I have like no control.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss that little blue bird, but
right. It was just so much friendlier, bro.
It's like, when are we gonna stop calling it tweeting though? Like it's you know, it's
that's gonna be like an old person
X me,
thing,
bro.
That's gonna be like an old person thing. You're gonna be like, oh, I saw it on Twitter. Oh, sorry. Like you're like, whoa, you remember
back in my day,
the before times, like.
I mean, I don't know. I still kind of call it the Sky Dome every now and then.
I was with that joke you were just making, Jared. I was making that joke to my girlfriend the other day. Like years from now, we'll be like, back in my day, there was a little blue bird for the icon, and when you posted a message, they call it a tweet. And you retweet your friends and be like, okay, grandma.
It's the most Grandpa Simpsons under a tree story.
Yeah, it's exactly that meme. Like, okay, let's go back to bed now. But he wants to make it like the everything app, right? Like that was his whole purpose in buying Twitter, was he wanted an app that you would do everything on, from banking to like voting to
it's like Google, right? The Google Calendar it's not called anything. It's a Google Calendar. Like I think he wants to have a umbrella of companies like that. I think that's sort of the idea.
I found the video here. Do you want to watch it?
Yeah. And then Threads came out and just went to shit.
Oh, dude, that's one garbage.
Yeah, that was one weekend, right? Like
nobody uses that shit anymore. Everyone's like, "Oh, this is cool." Nah, fuck it. It's too much. It's just overloaded.
There's too many apps already.
So people
Way too
waited
many
over an
people.
hour to get their luggage at Pearson Airport, only for the staff to later announce that they won't be getting it that night.
I think you better call
You
your
hear it?
boss. Tell your boss. to
I'm
get
not
his
calling my boss.
You should.
You're not happy?
You should.
I'm going.
All right. Go get my luggage.
I tell you what the situation is.
You're gonna go grab my luggage, come back. Oh, you have to.
Oh man.
Personally, I would never fly Lynx.
Yeah.
Personally, I would never fly Lynx.
That's
Now we just got to add the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme as he walks away.
Yeah.
you guys.
The best is the person
awesome.
and be like, "What's your name? What's your name?" And then when he walks away and doesn't give her name, she goes, Did anyone get his name?" Like she's like, "Oh,
Oh,
fuck,
man.
that's the only way that he could get consequences." Oh my god.
I think that that thing that Johnny was talking about, the how we're gonna see a rise in like more let's just call it grumpiness like that from
Yeah.
people in like
It's the
service
grumpy
oriented
era.
jobs. I think a big part of that is that from both sides, the customers and the people working service jobs, there's in our culture, there's less and less of uh just general notion of like gratitude. Like people, they're resentful of the country, of the government, of their parents, maybe, or maybe just their station in life, or a combination of those. And I think that, I seriously think that a key to your own personal happiness is to be grateful and to express gratitude where you can and focus on that, because
yeah.
that really served me in Starbucks. Like I always tried to, water off a duck's back when I have a crappy customer, and then you'd have another nice one in just a few minutes, and like it turns your day around and makes you feel better. And I think like, it's sad to see people get so bent out of shape like that, especially like an older guy. Like he's, probably got a lot of experience on the job, and he's probably just was pushed to his limit or whatever. We all have a bad day, right? But now your bad day becomes a viral video. And so that, and then you're that guy. Like how many people do we know that are, well, don't, not personally, but that they're these people like meme celebrities that they're like 30 years old now, and they're still like getting paid off.
They
this
just
one
use
meme.
the turtle.
They're that guy
kid.
for life.
Yeah,
Turtle Kid, yeah.
Turtle
Exactly,
Kid,
exactly.
like that's his thing now. Like that sucks. What a wet. Like I mean, it's great.
It's weird,
I guess,
right?
But
Yeah,
it's
it's like
weird. What a weird time to be alive.
because even if you were to say, let's say you take like the Buddhist like approach, and you're grateful that you had like the 15 minutes of fame, and you're like milking it and stuff, it's still like, I mean, and even celebrity, I think, comes with its own kind of like annoying thing. Like everybody, like you're the guy who played Neo in the Matrix, and everybody's like, it's Neo, it's Neo. Like, you'd get so sick of that. But if your whole thing was just this one meme, like you get sick of it
Your
so
whole identity.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who has the most unfortunate meme?
probably Bad Luck Brian, I think.
Right?
But I feel like that was like one of the first ones that people wouldn't remember it. Like I feel like it's the guy.
I think it's like enshrined in history. Like, you know what I mean? Like you might not know it,
Kind
but
of
if you were
old
to
now,
look
but yeah.
into memes, it would be
Oh,
like
yeah,
one
yeah,
of the
yeah.
first things that comes up as like the history of memes.
I think one of the most iconic ones that's always, I think every generation would know, is the older guy that's like smiling but looks like he's upset.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember his name, but he's like a
Oh,
Swedish guy
yeah,
or something.
that guy,
Is he Swedish?
that
I think Vice did an interview with him.
Man. Yeah, he's like the human version of Grumpy Cat.
guy. Dead ass, yeah. No, you know what's one I always think of is the douchebag one. It was literally called like the
Scumbag Steve.
Scumbag
Yeah.
Steve.
That would be tough to live down, dude.
This
Yeah.
would be a tough thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like this
the
guy
hat.
though. Like everyone's
Yeah.
met this guy.
Man.
Yeah,
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 everybody
yeah.
went to school with a guy like that. That's
Yeah.
Fucking amazing.
Maybe that's why they work though, is because like you're like, oh, I know.
So
that.
relatable.
Yeah, it's relatable is honestly
Yeah.
like all of it. But Pat, I love what you're saying about like just I think there's an element of gratefulness that's missing from a lot of people's lives, and that's why they react so poorly to what would be minor inconveniences, right?
Yeah,
like,
they're so
truly.
small.
Yeah.
Even as the service worker, to have all these people yelling at you, it's like
Yeah.
it's not even a big deal. It's not even your responsibility. Like I remember I used to always think, what was it? It was that book that you lent to me. The four agreements. One, don't take anything personally. Like if somebody's mad, they're not mad at you. They're mad at like the way you made them feel. Even if you like said you suck, and then they were mad, like they're what it's going on inside of them, and it's
Yeah.
possible to have it affect you less. It
Because
can't
if you
not affect
yelled
you.
"you suck" at The Rock, he would laugh at you.
Totally.
Like he'd be like, "Are you sure?" You know, like it wouldn't even. He wouldn't be
Or
mad
John
at you.
Cena, he'd be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Are you sure about that?"
He goes, "How do you see me right now?"
Yeah.
Oh my
Wait,
god.
what? You can see me?
Yeah, damn. God damn it.
Yeah, and a lot of those people who I don't know, get mad at the little things too. I think it's all perspective. Like they haven't actually been through something, and what's
100%.
unfortunate, they
Yeah.
need to go through something tragic or just for that
Yeah.
perspective. Like I don't wish bad things on people, but I find some of the nicest people I've met.
Some people.
Yeah, some people, but like I find some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life too. Like I hear more about their story, and it's like, holy shit, like you've been through shit or seen some shit, and it's all perspective.
That's the
Yeah.
same thing with Instagram when people tell me that they're like, "Oh, I'm jealous of like so and so. They look like they're killing it right now." I'm like,
Yeah.
Instagram is everybody's highlight reel. They're not going to be sharing like the
Yeah.
most traumatic moments of their life on their Instagram page. And you have no idea what they went through to get to that point. You
Yeah.
know, like they're having big success now, but like you don't know what their story is. And like, unless it's out there and, you know, it's proven that they're whatever, a Nepo baby or something. But in most cases, people who are very successful had very traumatic pasts. Like
Yeah.
very, I think what's her name? Leighton Meester or something. She was like this big actress. She was on Gossip Girl or one of those shows, and she literally played like a rich girl in the show. Grew up like broke her whole life. Her mother had her in a prison. Her mom was in a
Damn.
Texas prison and gave birth to her in the prison. Like couldn't have started from a worse starting block
Seriously.
and
Yeah.
then made it into acting
Texas.
somehow. Like what the fuck? Yeah. Texas is a wild place. Shit.
I feel like a
Man.
Florida prison is like the bottom of the bottom.
Yeah.
Texas
Yeah,
is like
yeah,
low,
yeah.
but I think Florida is worse. Like
We'll switch it. We'll switch her story up on it.
just to really make it authentic.
Yeah. Redo. Edit that out. No.
But that's crazy. Yeah.
The
No.
fact checkers are gonna have fun with this one.
Yeah. Why it's just
Seriously.
not even Leighton Meester? It's somebody else I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
I like
That'd
combine
be
two
amazing.
names that don't even exist.
Yeah.
I do that so much. There's some times where like I'll say something to Kim and she'll just believe me, and then I'll look it up later and I'll like, oh, sorry, no, that's completely wrong.
I was just talking out of my ass.
She goes, you deliver it so confidently that I just believe what you tell me, and I'm like,
Yeah, Johnny, you got that
Oh,
news
man.
delivery with the story.
So that's what I realized working where we used to work. I mean, Sean, you know this on the
Yeah.
voiceover one that I used to do.
Mhm.
We would talk the craziest shit, but I would say it with such a
matter
not
of
seriousness,
factness,
but
like
yeah,
this is how it
confidence.
is. Yeah,
People are like, well, I guess that's the truth then.
Yeah, you
so
just
fucking
develop the
dangerous.
delivery. You're like, this
Yeah,
is my
man.
hosting voice. And you all had like a really good I don't know, skills with that too. Like you guys were crushing it in there.
Only after sucking for a long time.
Yeah, that's like anything in life. huh?
Yeah. It's one of those things though where like you don't realize that you were sucking at it as you were doing it, and then you look back and you can have that kind of perspective
You're
of being
like,
like,
oh.
whoa, I was
Yeah.
what was I doing? Like what the how was I this nervous? Like what is
Yeah.
Nerve,
make
that's what it is.
sense.
It's just about confidence, man.
truly
not being
and you
nervous,
can
but that comes with
choose
confidence.
confidence, which is the craziest thing.
100%.
You can just choose to be. I keep trying to tell like people in this in my life who are like, oh, I'm not confident enough, or I'm trying to quit this. Or I'm like, you can just choose to do it. That's what life is. You just choose to do it.
Just
Like
decide, yeah.
something I've started doing is I don't really order anything off of Amazon anymore. I try to first go to the somewhere to find the thing. Because what I
Nice.
realize is like just because Amazon is super convenient and it'll come to my door the next day, I'm also missing out on everything that I would have saw and people I would have interacted with trying to
Mhm.
find that thing. And that's like the best part about being human is just like farting around, like just going around being like, cute dog. What kind of dog is that? And like talking to people and be like, do you know where this is? Like I've been trying to, and having conversations with people and like getting those stories and interactions. None of that happens if you just sit in your house.
Sometimes you meet a stranger
push a
that
button.
changes your life.
Yeah,
Or
literally.
becomes
Never
your
know.
best friend, or who knows,
Fucking
gives you an
nuts.
opportunity.
Sean, you just reached out to me through Instagram. Hey, you want to do a podcast? Like never even met you, and then now
And
we
then
have this
you
friendship.
helped me get employment over the pandemic. It's all because of,
Crazy.
we had this little interaction. You liked my page. I'm like, oh, this guy's like a comedian. There's a YouTube thing. It's perfect for the show.
Yeah.
Now we're boys years later. Still
Crazy.
making
is
shit
wild.
together. But yeah, that's just from going outside.
There's another comic that I had on named Chad Noonan, and he said something to me that was like really huge. He was like, every day I try to I try to go for one thing that's like a big thing. Like I'll send an email to someone I really want to get on the podcast as a guest, or I'll like try to book this thing, or he's like, every day I try to do like one, like just swing for the fences kind of thing, action.
Love it.
And eventually that starts to build up, and then you hit. Like it's the same thing with the bad customers. It's like shake it off, shake it off, shake it off. You'll get a good customer. It'll turn the whole day around.
Yeah. I don't do that every day, but I've been more conscious of that, and it's been changing my life.
Killer guests on, dude.
It's been nuts,
bro, you've been
man.
you've been
killing it.
Actually, oh man, it's kind of hurts, but I also want to say before I say this, I am behind the actors strike. I believe they're fighting for a good thing. But
I am against, just put that on the record.
Yeah, fuck you, Johnny.
AI for life.
Yeah. But because of the actor strike, a lot of like really big surprises kind of got derailed. Last week I was supposed to talk to Ron Perlman, was going to be on the show, and some guests of like that caliber. So like those opportunities are still there. The publicist kind of hit me up being like, hey, this is going on right now, but who knows, like if this movie's still being promoted, what if they come to a settlement or whatever, we'll try to get it again. But again, it is what it is, and that's kind of part of I guess the game as well.
Did you guys see what Andrew Schultz said about his thoughts on the strike? Because I thought that was actually really good. So Pat, you can back me up if I'm like incorrect with anything, but he essentially said that he thinks, so obviously they're like, they want more money. It's coming down to like, we want more money from the revenue of the streams, but Netflix famously does not tell you how many people watch your show, right? And they can do that for a reason, because they can tell the investors and the company, the head of the company, like, hey, we have 80 million people watching every month, so the stock prices go up. So they're scared that if they reveal the actual numbers so that you can do the math to find out how much these people will get in revenue share, the stock price will drop because it's dramatically lower than what they're projecting their actual viewership is.
Right.
And so essentially he's like, these people might be striking themselves out of a job. Like if they show the numbers and the stock price drops, they now have less money to budget for their own independent films. So they're hiring less people on all these projects because they want a larger revenue share. And I'm like, does that make sense? Like that seems like the way it would happen, right? Based on the information that we have.
I mean, I think that from from what I can understand about businesses and Wall Street and all of that stuff, it's not outside the realm of possibility that Netflix is fabricating the numbers, let's say. It's definitely possible. But even if the numbers do get revealed and the actors get a lot less residuals because the numbers are lower than predicted, and that tanks Netflix and that chain reaction happens, at the end of the day, we're probably just going to end up with a revolution of sorts that will probably pan out to be better.
I think it's all going to move to independent creators, because like
we're going that way for sure.
Yeah, it seems like it a lot.
Like look at Barbenheimer, for example, right? It was two studios that are told, hey, we're in the middle of an actor strike. Like Sean just said, you can't promote any of this shit. So what do? They do it through memes. They promote the movies through memes, through stirring up controversy. All of these things work because if a controversial thing happens, like you won't believe what Ryan Gosling said to Simu on set. They were on set of Barbie, which premieres this date, and that it says all that shit in the article, which is promotion, right? Like that's what they're doing, is promoting through controversy. And so it's like it's going to be independent creators that eventually take over the entertainment market.
That kind of stuff is so real, man. Like I've heard that like the FBI has like a division dedicated to creating memes to like spread particular messages.
Russia does in Macedonia.
On Facebook?
In Macedonia, they have giant meme centers where people just create memes and Facebook pages and pump them out all day to direct narratives from whoever's paying them that week.
Right.
Like it's fucking nuts, dude. Like you're like, huh?
I mean, if the memes are good, like I just want to get
I'll follow the message as long as it's funny.
I'll follow the message as long as it's funny. That's so good.
But it's so true. That's just how powerful.
Make your propaganda more funny.
Yeah.
How many memes did we send each other at work? We just send each other memes all day long.
Through Slack too. Just complete misuse of company time.
I mean, look at the name they picked for that app, though. Like, what did they expect?
Yeah. I know. What the fuck?
Setting yourself. It should have been called work. Setting yourself up for failure.
Holy crap!
God damn. Oh, man. Jared, did you say you were going to see Oppenheimer?
Tomorrow.
Okay. I'm going to tell you one thing. It's not going to spoil the movie. I saw the Barbie movie and then I saw the Oppenheimer movie.
I saw Barbie too. Yeah.
It like Barbie is female propaganda and Oppenheimer is male propaganda.
Yeah.
Like that's all it is. That's the
only I've heard Oppenheimer is like just a very solid movie. Barbie,
it's a dude's movie.
Yeah.
It's like a woman doesn't even appear till like 90 minutes in and she's shirtless. And she's fucking someone. Like
I love it. It's my kind of movie.
And the men are just like geniuses running everything. Like, and then in Barbie, like this female president, like everything is pink, and the men are these sex objects that they hate. Like they're like, why are you here? They're confused by their existence. Even
that's amazing. And I know he drinks black coffee and martinis, right?
Who?
Oppenheimer? Yeah.
I don't remember that part. What I was going to tell you was, there's this weird thing that Christopher Nolan does where he switches from black and white to color. And usually when you watch a movie and you see black and white, your brain goes, oh, this is something from the past. But it's not. He uses the black and white and color to show two different perspectives. So the black and white is from the perspective of Robert Downey Jr. and his story alongside Oppenheimer. And then the colored version is Oppenheimer's perspective. And if had I known that going into it, it would have made a lot more sense. Because I'm like, why are they showing this scene again? Like, I'm so confused. Like, what the fuck is happening?
The people I saw it with kind of felt like that took away from the movie a bit. Like I mean, it's fun, dude. It was really cool, but it's weird, man. It's for a 3-hour movie. It feels kind of rushed. Like it's all over the place.
Really, eh?
You'll have your own conclusions after. I don't want to give anything away. It's fun ride, but everybody I was with was kind of like, and I was like, I mean, I had fun.
I fell asleep at the end.
I woke up, everything was exploding.
Go see the 6 o'clock.
I mean, we all know how it ends.
Japan.
I wish it was by Tarantino. He just like switches the ending or something.
Right? It was cool,
Nazis
though.
just take over.
Like how they do how they do the explosion scenes. You're like, okay, that's cool. Like that's a good way to do it. I won't spoil
it's definitely a see it in the theater kind of movie.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
that's
man,
good to know.
I know Nolan is like, you know, he's a true filmmaker. He I was reading on Instagram, it's either 300 acres or 500 acres for Interstellar when they have the shot of all the corn. And he literally bought a corn, like I think 300 acres of corn in Canada, and then apparently he sold it for profit.
What a boss!
So he used it for the movie, and then he made money on it. Which
fucking respect though.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, it was like somewhere in Alberta or something. Like it was like very rural area, but still, I was like, geez, like he really doesn't. He doesn't like CGI.
Good. I think
respect.
Yeah. I think
there's got to be a corn joke to be made in this moment, but I got nothing.
Yeah, I can't even think of a corn joke.
I just something. I want to say something's corny, but I'm like, what's corny about it? What's
Boys,
corny?
I'm
We're gonna
have-
come up with something after the chat.
Yeah,
instead of
yeah,
doing
as
our
soon
little,
as this
group
is
chat.
done.
It's like,
100%.
fuck, I should have said this on the
Oh, man.
podcast.
Yeah, so
Always
we'll
happens.
send our best corn jokes into the group chat, and then we'll read them all out the next time that we get together. I'm gonna have to find
my
a
God.
time where we could do like a 2-hour podcast because I feel like we're just getting started, and I have to dip now. Like,
Oh,
It's all
man.
good, bro.
Did I call
I
it or
hate
what?
that.
Like as soon as we started on the coffee, we ripped into like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
was
even
30
say
minutes
hello.
on coffee.
I overheard you guys vaguely talking about coffee. I just dove in.
Did
He's like,
no
"Fuck yeah, coffee."
introductions. I did no introductions whatsoever. But people watching, go follow Jared on Instagram. It's Bronze7,
Handsome.
the Creative Imbalance on Instagram, and at Phatriik with 2 eyes. All those links are in the description below.
Boom.
So much for making the time. It's always so fun catching up with you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's always a blast. Thanks for
We'll
having
do a
us,
long
bro.
one next time.
Yeah,
We'll
we
find
got to
night
do a
that we're
long
all
one.
just
We
get some
gotta,
drinks.
yeah, maybe we do like
a
a 10 o'clock one. Just take it right till midnight or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yo,
you
that'd
could
be
cut it
fun,
up to
yeah.
multiple episodes. Like whatever, I'm down.
Get a couple brews going.
yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I still think we should all run an online game sometime too. That'd be a blast.
Yeah.
Yo, real quick
saying
before you
that.
go, bro.
Yeah.
COD Modern Warfare 3 servers are back up. Let's just run Dome or Hard Hat or something. I'm just saying.
Yeah, fuck
down.
yeah. I'm up for
Somebody
whatever,
just send me the instructions of what I have to do and what I have to get, and I'll figure it. I'll do it all. I'm the worst at trying to figure all that shit out.
I'm down.
Just being brutally honest
Okay.
there.
No
Be like,
problem.
Jared's like,
We'll
this is the
come up with
game.
something in the
Click on
chat.
this link. Like, have this plugged in. I'm like, all right, got it. I have the equipment. I know I can do it. It's just a
I
matter
believe
of
in you.
knowing the steps. Everybody watching, hit that subscribe button. You know all this shit. But until next time, been Johnny Rogers, Jared Bronstein, Phatriik, Sean Sirianni of the Creative Imbalance. Take it easy.
See ya.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Forrest. We gotta do Forrest for
For the thumbnail.
it's like hold it. You've been listening to the Johnny Rogers Show. New episodes air every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.